We're back. Welcome to episode 4 of the MomFuel and Mindset podcast. This is Jess and Chrissy, and we are having fun with this. We have made it very clear that we have no idea what we're doing. We're just a couple of friends getting together who are passionate about helping women and moms, and we're just having fun with it. We're having real conversations and we might have went a little longer on episode 3, so we apologize. We appreciate anybody who listened to the whole thing through. Our goal, we know you're busy, is to try and get you out of here in 35 minutes. But if I'm being honest, I felt like the conversation was really good. And so I didn't, we weren't just going to like cut it off, but we want you to know, hopefully that's not the norm. We could talk about this stuff for hours, but we're going to try and get, we want to give you realistic, easy 30-minute drive, something you can put on in the car. So we apologize that we went a little bit longer. We hope that you got something out of it. That's always the goal, but we definitely want to try and keep them on the shorter side.
Yes, definitely make them digestible. As Jess said, you can put it on your car on your way to work or whatever, and we're not taking up a whole hour of your time. But a little plug, find a friend like Jess. Find a friend that shares the same energy and love for life and willingness to be vulnerable and grow. Just find your people. I think that matters. We're going to talk about MomFuel Mindset and really the drive behind that today. But I just wanted to start off, and Jess didn't even know I was going to say this. It just kind of sparked in me, like, find your people because your people matter. So,
thank you. I appreciate you all the same. It is important. Because I've said to you before, when I leave just our planning meetings and when we get together just to chat as friends, like I leave there feeling so like I can do it all. I can tackle it. I have a support system. It really does matter who you have in your corner. And so it is important to find your people. I agree. And I'm so glad that I have you. And I really think that this is the goal, right? To create community for moms who don't have that. If you don't have somebody like I have Chrissy, you have us, right? This is the goal of this podcast, is to become your virtual friends. Like we want you to know that we are here for you and we listen. We want your feedback. We want to know where you are. We want to know how we can help. And we're hoping through this that we can have conversations that ultimately help you so that you listen to this and you turn it off feeling full, feeling ready to tackle your week or your day. We want to become your friends. We've said it before. We want you to be a part of our circle. So that is MomFuel and Mindset. We really did decide on this because we know that there's a need. We had a need and we found it, and we know that there's a greater need. And so we want this podcast to really open eyes. We want it to open hearts. We want it to open minds. We want to create awareness to the struggles and things that moms deal with in mindset, right? In MomFuel. What is MomFuel? We talk about being the new year, right? We're in the new year now. This is where moms are trying to really make changes, be 1% better. They want to do things differently. The new year is always a new opportunity to do different. And now that we're in it a little bit, how are we doing? Well, we have to take a look inward and we have to look at MomFuel. What are we fueling our bodies with? Not just our bodies, our physical bodies, but our mental, our mind, our emotions, right? What are we fueling it with? We could talk about our food. We could talk about the drinks we're putting in our body, soda, alcohol, caffeine, the food. Are we eating our kids' scraps? Are we eating junk? Are we grabbing stuff on the go, fast food, right? But what about our mind? What about our mental health? Like, what are we watching? What are we listening to? I think Christy and I can both agree that we'll go back to when we scroll, what are we fueling our body with when we're on Facebook and Instagram? I love these platforms for the fact that we get to connect with you, but I also know that they can be a detriment to people's mental health.
And your wallet. Because right? I'm sorry, but like Amazon and like all the ads on Facebook, and then all of a sudden you need something that you didn't know you needed, and you're like buying all these things, and everything is so easy to buy because your credit card or Apple Pay or PayPal or Venmo or anything, right? So, and I
Yes.
get so wound up about this because that's me. I
Yeah.
get caught up in that, like, oh, I need that, I need that. Oh, look at this new system. Oh, look at that. Like, just talked in the last episode about kind of like an ADHD brain, right? She'll work on something and then she kind of gets, her distracted
Girl.
something over here and squirrel over here. And I'm the same way. And so I think what we're fueling our bodies with, what we're fueling our brains with matters, right? And so we're not saying turn off social media. We're not saying take up all your credit cards off your phones. What we are saying is bring awareness to it. Recognize it. What is working for you again and what is not? You're going to hear us say that all the time. What is working for you and what is not? And so just being aware of that is super important.
I think once you realize the effect it's having on you, it opens a whole new world. But when you don't realize the effect that it's having on you and you just think you're super tired, you just think you're super irritable, right? But when we can get to the root of what's happening, I watched a movie on Netflix a while back. It was like, they tell you what the trending number one in TV shows or whatever. And I was like, I like to have background noise on, so, music or a show when I'm doing stuff. And I put this show on, and I felt my whole nervous system just went haywire. I was not comfortable. It was I had to shut it off. I literally was red. It was wild. And the awareness to me was that shut it off, Jess. If your body it's literally telling you it's not okay with the show and you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. What are you doing? It was making you so uncomfortable, right? If there's music playing that has a lot of like swear words or just something and it's turning you off, like listen to that. That's negatively impacting your nervous system, which is negatively impacting your body. I wouldn't have known that years ago. You know what I mean? Like I watched all kinds of shows. I used to watch Criminal Minds all the time. I wouldn't sleep. Finally, Jimmy was like, I think you should probably stop watching this show. And I was like, why? I love this show. He's like, I don't think you love this show. I think you want to love this show, but it was really affecting my sleep. It was affecting like my anxiety. Like I would go out and I would just have like, I'd be looking around. Like it was really taking a toll on me. And I didn't make the connection. Why? Because it's just a TV show. It's not real, but our bodies, our subconscious does not know the difference between real and not. It thinks that I'm living in the situation. So I'm creating habits. I'm training my brain to think that I'm living in a constant fight or flight situation where I have some serial killer after me.
And you're in your kitchen.
And I'm in my kitchen baking cookies or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And so we are constantly, right? Your brain is constantly scanning your environment to see what you're in and to know what's safe and what's not safe. And if we're constantly fueling our bodies with things that make our nervous system get out of whack, we are constantly living in fight or flight situations. And how many moms constantly are living in fight or flight?
And that becomes the norm that you don't even realize that that's what it is, right? So think about your rapid heartbeat, sweaty palms, shakiness, ability to focus, pacing, unable to sleep, right? Like that is your nervous system hijacked. It's hijacked. And so, but oftentimes we are living in that all the time, that has become our normal. And so
Right.
we feel like there's a serial killer after us or a tiger chasing us in the woods, and it's not. So we
Right.
do have to retrain our brain, and that what we feed it matters. So you could watch Criminal Minds, that matters. You could watch a comedy show, that matters. It matters. And again, as Jess said, our subconscious does not know the difference between real and make pretend. So if you understand that for the Criminal Minds example she gave, what if we gave it something completely different? What if we
Right.
listened to something that fed us positively, right? Again, our subconscious doesn't know the difference. And that's how we retrain our brain.
Which I think is a good segue into the mindset piece, right? The mindset piece of MomFuel and Mindset is we can change this. Your mindset is yours. You get to decide what you're going to do with it. You can retrain your brain. You can realize once the awareness of the MomFuel is opened up. When you take time to really think about how you're fueling your physical and mental body, your mindset is going to help you change that. It is not normal to walk around all the time in fight or flight mode. It's not normal to walk around all the time. Well, I take that back. It is normal. Too many people are doing it. It shouldn't be normal, right? It shouldn't be your norm. It is not the way we were created. Your nervous system was not meant to live in constant chaos. So we need to figure out a way to regulate it. We need to get it back to a normal state where you feel calm, cool, collected, like you can think, like you're in control of your emotions. They're not in control of you. I think that we become what we think about. We become the person that we talk about. We become, right? So this is the mindset piece that if we are constantly living in chaos and constantly living in fight or flight mode because of what we're fueling, but then we're playing into it because of the way that we speak to ourselves, nothing is going to change. Like that we're living out who we are, right? But we have the ability to change it. And that's why
Yeah.
we're here, right? Like that's why we're here is to figure out how to convey to you and give you tips and ideas and podcast episodes to help you retrain your brain to become what you think about. So we're going to change your thoughts. You're going to change the way that you think, change the way that you act. You're going to change the way that you handle situations because it all starts here, right? The way you talk, the way you see. We've done like these silly little exercises where actually I just had the Calm Mom workshop. And I laughed when I said this, but Chrissy and we've done this in our own workshops where go in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
right? And tell yourself all the amazing things about you. You are beautiful. You are strong. Like all of these things. And it sounds cliche, but it really starts to change the way that you think about yourself.
Well, I think our inner critic often overpowers anything else, and that's often built upon past experience. Whether someone said something to us or their behavior towards us meant something specific, and that shapes the way we talk to ourselves, which then shapes how we react in certain situations, right? And so I am my own worst critic, right? I'm getting better with it, and as I said in the last episode, I still have a lot of growth to do. I always felt like I wasn't good enough. I lacked confidence in every aspect of my life other than work. And I'm getting better with it, but it's because of the intentional work that I've done to retrain my brain, the things that I've done to do that. And the mirror work that just talked about is one of the things that I've done. So if you live in a house full of people and you feel weird doing that, okay. We're not saying that you don't have to do it. However, what I did, because I do live with other people, we have one bathroom that we're sharing, is do it when I'm putting on my makeup quietly. I'm already looking in the mirror, right? So again, it's a habit that I already have, and so I just added something to it instead of creating a whole other habit, right? A whole other thing that I had to do. I just incorporated it in an existing habit. So just think strategically about the things that you can do, because again, if you think horrible thoughts, your life will continue to be horrible. You will always look at the bad side of things, right? If we choose to shift and think differently, things will start being different. But we have to make that effort. And that makes me think of when Jess said, you become what you think about. This, I just got done a challenge in December. I listened to The Stranger's Secret every day for the whole month of December. And so that really helps you shift the way that you think and start like envisioning yourself as a person you want to be. And as Jess said, showing up as the person you want to become every single day.
Always take it back to the kids, right? So if you talked about past experiences and how they affect who you are today, right? Your inner critic tends to stem from situations, whether it be from last week, last year, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when you were a child. All of these things have created the mindset that you have today. I like to circle it back to our kids, okay? If we let our past experiences become who we are today, are our kids going to have mindsets based off of our past experiences because that's how we're raising them?
Generational. There you go.
Yeah. So if we have the ability to understand this, it makes it to me so much clearer how important it is to really do the work to say, just because this is the way I was raised, or just because of these traumas I went through, or just because of these experiences that had a negative impact on my life, they shouldn't have a negative impact on my child's life. I'm going to do the work to understand it, how it affects me, how it affects how I parent, how I react, how I show up in my marriage. And then I'm going to change it because my kids don't deserve to be parented by somebody who hasn't healed from situations that we've been through.
And that's our responsibility to heal. It's our
Yeah,
responsibility. It's not our fault, but it's our responsibility.
that 100%. It's very easy to say, I am a victim of
Mm-hmm.
this, and that's why I am this way. And it doesn't negate. I feel for people who have been through some of the crappiest situations, right? But I applaud the ones who take it and use it to become something great.
Mm-hmm.
You can use your experiences to change your life, your children's lives, that generational piece. You get to break the cycle. It ends with you. There's nothing more awesome that when a child comes from an alcoholic family says it ends with me. When there's a child that comes from abusive families that says it ends with me. My kids are not going to be. And it can be something as simple as people pleasing. It ends with me. My kids are not going to go through the same thing. But it is our responsibility. It's not our fault. You said that is so powerful. It wasn't your fault, but it is your responsibility. What you do with it is your responsibility. I
Mm-hmm.
think that changes a lot. I think it opens up your mind to think about the way that you do things, the way that you react, the things that you fuel your body with, right? When you realize that you are a carbon copy of what your kids are going to do when they're older, you think more about what you're going to do. Jimmy and I talk about this all the time. Like the way that you even just, when the kids want to play, are you quick to say no because it's not it's not the perfect timing, it's not right now? When they're older, are they going to remember my dad said yes? Anytime I wanted to throw the football, my dad was out there throwing the football with me. Like, because I want him to be the dad that says yes when his son wants to throw the football. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like little things like that. I feel like I'm constantly living in the future of thinking about how they're going to look back at their childhood because that is going to be the basis of which they parent.
And
Responsibility.
yeah, and it's funny because like that was I had a tinge of guilt when you were talking about throwing of the football because in my older kids when they asked me to play I was too busy, no, or I was too stressed. And the answer was always no. And quite frankly, playing for me doesn't come natural. So like it was always like a hard
Yeah.
no for me. And so, as you were saying that, I like those thoughts started like, oh now, Maddie and Travis are gonna be those parents that always say no. And that's not exactly true because they can choose what they do with it,
Yes.
right? And so, was
100%.
I the best me during that time? I did the best I could with what I had at the time. I believe that. Would there be
Yes.
things that I could change? Well, yeah and no. I feel like it shaped us to who we are today. And they have a choice to make. They can choose. My mom didn't get on the floor and play with me. It's not something I like to admit out loud. And they can choose to be that parent.
It's it's all a part of your story, right? Your journey is your journey for a reason. I believe with every fiber of my being, there is a reason to each of our chapters, each of our stories. And this could be because of your adult kids, right? Like this could help shape them in a different way. This could be a learning journey for them, right? You're 100% right. We all did the best we could because we are not the quick to say yes. All of my kids, both of my kids growing up when they were babies, I'm easily overstimulated. Like playing does not come natural with me as well. And so I have to be super intense. Even now, like I've talked about this before, I used to write in my calendar, like play Uno with the kids, right? Because it's not just going to come up on my own, right? But I want that connection with them. So I think that we have to be okay when we are okay with where we come from, when we okay with the things that we've gone through. It allows us to release the weight of any kind of guilt. We did the best, and we know that there's a purpose for it. Whether it be your adult kids going on their own learning journeys, it's something that they get to go and learn from and do with their kids. There's nothing bad comes from experience. We can learn from it, or we can, what does that say at science? Like we can let it make us better or bitter, right? Nothing bad can come from a situation if we don't let it, right? Like there's so much that we can learn from if we accept the fact that it's a learning tool, not if we accept it as it is what it is.
Right. No, I agree. I think we don't have to let it define us. We can learn from it and then choose to do whatever. But we don't have to stay stuck in that feeling and like I'm a failure, right?
Correct. Correct. Because we're not. It doesn't matter, the worst of the worst. It doesn't matter where you've come from. It does not matter because every day you get the choice to decide what you want to do moving forward. And I
Amen.
tell you what, like I say, because there are times when I think if I was stronger, if Jimmy and I hadn't separated, would we have been able to work things out, in the home? Like, did I have to put my kids through that? That's something I struggle with very frequently. And it took me realizing that my mess can become a message, right? I was very open. I'm still very open about our separation, what we went through, to get to where we are today. And I don't know if we would be where we are today had we not gone through that separation. And I can easily use it as a tool to beat myself up over. My kids, talk openly about when they had to change houses and they hated it and all of these things. And that stings. Maybe I didn't get that part right, but I now have a testimony. I have a message to share with moms. Like there's power in the way that we've done things. And your story is not bad. It doesn't matter what you've been through. Like it's your story. And you get to choose what the ending looks like every day. You get to make a choice. And I think that that's an important piece to understand that it doesn't matter how it's been in the past. It doesn't matter who you were in the past. It matters who you decide to be today. You can use that journey to elevate you to something new, to something great, to share with others. Like I wouldn't have anything to share had I not been through those situations. And that is something I'm grateful for. I wasn't always the best mom. I was not the best wife, but I have a story to share. That has to mean something, right? Like I have to think that it doesn't matter what you've been through. You can use that journey. You can use that story to help somebody else, even if that somebody else is yourself.
I feel like hardships just make us who we are, right? And we overcome them and they make us who we are. So you can't go through life without those hardships. And so, yeah, absolutely. And then we get to choose what we do with that. We get to,
What if we decide that hardships are good? Like I love what you just said. We look at hardship. We're so programmed to see hardships as a negative thing.
uh,
But what if we change our mindset? What if they're a learning? What if we start going through something hard and we think, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this?
and the feeling that you get when you get to the other side, right? I think,
It's so
I think
true.
they are the reason why we are who we are today is everything that we've been through. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. And so I think honoring that, holding space for the hard stuff, but not staying stuck there is super important. And a lot going back to the mom fuel mindset, a lot of what we do and how we get out of it is what we fuel our bodies with, what we fuel our minds with to
I
help
think
us
it,
get the hard stuff.
yeah, I think it all comes back to mom
Mhm.
fuel and mindset.
Mhm.
What are you feeling? Yeah, I love the way that you brought that back because that is the whole point. That is literally the whole point of this and us getting together. It all comes back to what are you putting in your physical body? What are you fueling your mind with? And then what is your mindset on it? How are we doing with our mindset? Because the mindset is the most important piece.
Yeah, because again, if you think negative thoughts, you're going to have negative experience. If you think positive thoughts, things will start shifting for you. And I'm not saying like try polishing a turd, right? Excuse my language, but a turd is still a turd. Sometimes things just suck. I mean, at the end of the day, that is it. And I'm not saying always bring lollipops and rainbows to hard
Right.
situations. So you have to feel the bad. You have to go through that. You have to allow yourself to feel sad and anger and all the things and you have to move through it. You can't stay stuck there if you want something different.
Because isn't it interesting that we set an unrealistic expectation to have a perfect life?
Social media, I think, does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. We won't go down this rabbit hole,
Yeah.
but I think that that's really important is that we have to understand that life is going to be tough. You're going to go through crappy situations, right? And we can allow that to negatively impact our mom guilt, right? Like we could, but That's unrealistic. We have to be okay knowing that hard things are going to come, you know? And that's a really good piece. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm writing this down. I'm
Yeah.
writing this down because that's another good talking point, is that we can't let unrealistic expectations of having no struggles, no triumphs, no issues in our lives, no obstacles to ever come across. But if we can go into them with the right mindset, what if the outcome is easier, different? There's so much there that we
Yeah.
could do different.
Yeah, and it's just a little note on that. I posted on social media last week about how Christmas was really hard for me, and I talked about it
Yeah.
in one of our podcasts. And I got a message from someone yesterday just thanking me for being vulnerable and sharing that because it allowed her to kind of move through some stuff too. And she said, keep the vulnerability coming. Because I think so much of
Yeah.
social media is like staged. I hate to say
Right.
it, but I think a lot of social media is staged. And
Yeah.
so when we share our hardships and pieces that make us vulnerable, like that makes us human. And people
Yeah.
connect with that. Knowing that you're not alone is so important. And so you're going to get the real stuff from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's us.
Yeah.
That's us. No, and that's what we need more of. People
Mhm.
who can relate to the real life stuff that they're going through,
Mhm.
That is really, that's where connection, that's where change, that's where awareness, perspective shifts, right? Oh my gosh, I'm not the only one. Oh
Mhm.
my gosh. But she was able to look at it in a different way. And guess what? Christmas was actually, it was different, but different doesn't mean bad.
That's right.
All right. So I'm paying more attention to my time today.
Thank you.
Chrissy is much more rigid and scheduled than me. I will go off on tangents. So I'm trying to be more like Chrissy. Which I can appreciate. I need that in more areas of my life. All right, so we're gonna leave them with 3 tips.
Yes. Yes.
3 tips for how to make yourself more aware of what you're fueling your body with and how it's affecting your nervous system, as well as your mindset. How can we focus more on managing our mindset, being in a good place? So, tip 1 is going to be change out what you're listening to. Maybe just on one commute, maybe just on, dropping the kids off or picking them up or driving to work. If you have a 30-minute, put on a podcast, something that fills you up, something, personal development focused. Obviously, we have the MomFuel Mindset podcast, but there's so many great resources. We've both used Mel Robbins and there's so much that you can find out there that it's an easy way to fuel your body with something good.
Yeah, just something simple. So think of a routine that you already have in place when you're listening to music or watching a YouTube video or whatever, and replace it with a podcast. If you need recommendations for podcasts, feel free to reach out to one of us. We'd be happy to give you a list of them. But really, just you only need 15 minutes, and even if you don't finish the whole podcast, that's okay. But what you listen to matters. So if you want to commit to this, just choose one time a day to switch out what you're listening to.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Number 2, you want to share number 2?
It's awareness.
Yes.
Awareness. So really just starting to be aware of what you're putting in your body, right? And what you're putting into your mind. What are you listening to? What are you watching? What's the food you're eating? Are you drinking multiple coffees a day? Are you smoking? Are you vaping? Are you drinking alcohol? And there's no judgment. I'm just curious if you can bring awareness to it. What are you fueling your body with to get through? Because that's what this is about, right? It's surviving the day.
Yeah. And think about how it's affecting your body, right? So I know that when I drink caffeine, I don't drink coffee. So when I have one, I turn into a psycho. I start shaking. I feel weak and crappy. And so I can't blame that on anything other than the fact that I put caffeine in my body and I know that it doesn't like it, right? If you're watching a show and you feel your nervous system going out of whack, you can't blame that on anything other than you're putting something in your body that it doesn't like. So
Mhm.
that awareness is just what are you putting in and how is it affecting you? We like bread, but if you don't like gluten, you know that it's not a good thing. You know what I mean? But just because we like it doesn't mean that we should be putting it in our bodies. And
Mhm.
just creating that awareness as, what are we putting in and how is it affecting it?
It's super important.
Yeah. And then number 3 would be share with somebody. If you are in our Mom Fuel and Mindset Reflect and Reset group, share with us. Share with us what is, what your findings are, what you're putting in, that awareness. We want to know that awareness because accountability is huge. When you have somebody that you can go to and confide in and share with, not only does it give you connection, but that accountability piece to I know that I work much better when I have a coach, whether it be on my nutrition, my fitness, my business, anything I'm doing. If I have somebody that I'm checking in with, I'm going to get it done. If it's just me, I'm probably going to put it off because I have all the time in the world. I don't have that accountability piece. I work much better when I have somebody working side by side with me that I know that I have to stay accountable with.
Yes, amen. I agree. I do much better when I have someone holding me accountable, right? And I think sometimes I know personally, like I'll be like, oh, I just won't go to the call. But then like I'm not showing up for myself. I'm showing up for my other person. Like I have this sense of responsibility, so I just get it done. So even though I didn't want to do it, I'm coming up with all the excuses why I'm not, and I'm gonna blow off the call. Ultimately, I don't blow off the call because I want to show up for them, and showing up for them means I get to follow through with my end. So it's not just a little extra push that someone like myself needs.
And I think that builds confidence in yourself, right? When you show up and you're like, oh my gosh, I learned something, I did something, whatever it be, you're building that confidence in yourself that when you say you're going to do something, you do it. You start to trust yourself again. And then it becomes the norm, right? Then you just become somebody who does what you say you're going to do. And then that's the mindset piece. You're changing your mindset because we wouldn't make plans with a friend and just no call, no show, right? So we want to build that relationship with ourselves, and it starts with accountability.
Yeah. Yes, all of that.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to episode 4 of the MomFuel and Mindset podcast. We hope that you got something out of this. If you are listening, we hope that you will like and subscribe and download and give us feedback. Leave us a comment if there's something that you would want us to chat about or something that you love that we chatted about. We appreciate any and all feedback. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And we will see you in episode 5.
Awesome. 5 already, huh?
Yay. Awesome,
Awesome.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.